Hey guys, thank you so much and welcome to this Game Your Future podcast. I'm Daniel, and here we're just helping gamers. We're helping you get to the impact, the income that you're looking for using gaming as that teaching tool. And like I said, gaming teaches us great skills, and I want to help a million gamers realize their full potential through gaming. And today, I have a special guest from the gaming industry as well. This is, and I hope I pronounced this right, is Ivica. Uh, Close
Yeah,
enough, I'll say. And Ivica is works in IT. He works under Microsoft, but in the gaming industry. And of course, he can't share too much about exactly the project he's working on. But he's living his dream working in the gaming industry, as well as doing his own gaming project on the side, I hear. So, Ivica, thank you so much and welcome. How are you?
thank you for questions. I am fine. I'm also glad to be here on your podcast
Absolutely.
and also meeting more and more gaming people or even retro gaming people as I am more into retro gaming, but that's my policy again. But
Yep. And
first
when we
things
say
first.
so tell us a little bit about the your gamer journey, like how long you've been playing and what do you consider retro and what kind of games you like?
Oh well, if I remember correctly, my grandfather used to have Commodore 64 with ultra fast reading cassette player, if I say correct.
Mhm.
Uh, I was like under 2 or 3 years old. My aunt was telling me that he was stuck on some place for a couple of days, and I just came and smashed the button on the keyboard of the Commodore, and the program or the game started working. So basically, that's my first touch with
Started at 2 years
gaming.
old. I
Yeah,
love it.
yeah, I don't remember it, but yeah. Later in the 96, 7, I got my first knockoff version of Sega Master System in the Europe. Uh, it wasn't the original, but again, like it was working for me.
Yep.
But basically, it was Chip and Dale's, the Rescue Rangers, the Super
Yeah.
Mario, and there was some circus guy that was jumping lions, balls, and stuff like that. Those are like my really starting beginning of the gaming.
Mhm.
Uh, as for my favorite game, it's really hard to choose like my top one gaming, but it should be like probably Metal Gear Solid One on the
Okay. Metal Gear
PlayStation,
Solid. Yep.
or Fear Effect. The second part, it's really hard to choose. It was like the 90s, early 2000s, was really good years of the gaming.
Yeah.
Um,
I love that
and
era of
as
gaming for sure.
and as for me, I don't have the Sega Genesis or Dreamcast or GameCube, so I was stuck on PlayStation One. But generally, it was really hard to choose because you had really good games like Tomb Raider, Resident Evil, Pure Effect, Metal Gear Solid. Really lots of stuff to play. But probably for me, it was, I'm gonna lie you. I'm gonna throw you my best one. Ace Combat 3, Electrosphere.
Ace Combat 3.
Yeah, it
Nice.
is. It was really hard to play for lots of people because they got dizzy.
Yeah,
But for
the
me, it
flight
was
games,
really
yeah.
good.
That's fantastic. So
So
great. So
like,
yeah, so you've definitely enjoyed games for years. So I like that since you were two, right? I'm trying to even think my first memory of, of games. It was definitely long. I don't even know if it was two. So awesome. Um, so growing up and kind of having that interest in games, and then so I understand, of course, you mentioned you're working in the games industry now. So
yes.
I know there's, yeah, and of course, there's certain projects that you're working on that you're not allowed to talk about. Can you talk about at least a little bit as far as how you got into the gaming industry? Because there's definitely a lot of people I'm sure that are interested that, oh man, I would love to work on games or work for one of these big companies making cool games. How do you
Oh
get into that?
well, this is my second job in gaming industry.
Mhm.
Basically, so something about me. I am born in Serbia or ex-Yugoslavia, and I'm living in Prague, Czech Republic.
Mhm.
And I was working as a bartender after COVID. My first gaming industry experience was, again, I cannot talk a lot about it, but I was a tester for one Czech game for a couple of hours. Basically, I just saw the ad on the website. I was like, hell yeah, I want to be a tester. I want to play games to earn something. And I just answered the ad. I'm like, okay, when you come in, when you can try it. Okay, that was it. Basically, I was sitting in the office for 2 hours and playing the same part of the game for a couple of hours. See, is there some glitches, bugs, or anything? Uh, of course, for that 2 3 hours, it wasn't such a big money to say, but again, it was like interesting
Yeah.
experience to get in. As for this now, the job in the IT, in the gaming industry, I was called by a recruiter in IT, and like, well, this is for Microsoft. Do you want? Yeah, okay, fill out everything, send everything. In my private life, out of the job, I am usually doing websites for people, stuff like that. So basically, I was like already in IT, but like freelancing, and
Okay.
I had like 10 talking appointments. I'm gonna lie you, like it was more than five, plus a couple of more, like 4 or 5 tests in personal life, talking with all the people, and like they see that I know the knowledge, I got that energy, and like I just got the job. But I am not IT by the profession. I am a welder by profession. So again,
Okay. So it sounds like you started as like a video game kind of tester, right? Is
yeah,
maybe the first inch into it, right? Uh,
yeah. It was like a side job or like 2 hours playing some game, and
right. And then yeah, so you said that was just like from an advertisement, right? That the people they
yeah,
were
from
just
the
looking, right?
advertisement,
So
yeah,
so because I think that sometimes what people think is that magically the opportunities will appear, but like at some point you have to actually go and either apply or go look and try and talk to people to say like, hey, hey, you have this available, can I try it, right? Or can kind of putting yourself out there, right? So uh, I guess what would you say to people that I guess maybe are even scared to even look or put themselves out there saying like, there's no way it could work for me?
well, it's like I am welder by profession, and in Serbia, or at least my family, like you finish that, you need to work in the same company where you finished graduate the high school or get a diploma, and you shut up and work like 8 to 12 hours per day until the rest of your life.
Yeah.
And for me, that's not that. I don't want to work for some small money if I know I can make more or even more.
Yeah, exactly
So
right. And that was the struggle, I'll say, for my own personal journey is like I at least made like I guess somewhat decent money, but it was like it was that same kind of thing where it's like working for someone kind of really limits kind of the ceiling, like limits how far you can go. Like you have to kind of and it's like a much bigger hurdles as far as trying to get promoted and working office politics to try to get ahead. And so there's just so
yeah,
much, there's so many barriers, but when you can really work for yourself, and so working for yourself is that I'll call it the double-edged sword, though, right? Where it's you have this big potential, but then again, it's all on you, where you have to be doing all the work. And if you're not working, then you're not earning, right? Because I think that's something
well,
about kind of a corporate job where there's like a little bit more of a safety.
well,
Yeah.
well, it's not about a two-edged sword. Like the two-edged sword, that's normal for every job position. But you have when you open your own company. Let's say you want to do anything, right? But let's say in a gaming sphere, you want to open a game shop. to be a reseller or buy retro games and resell them as the DK oldies on TikTok. They're doing usually videos. Like you have to remember, you have workers. You need to pay them medical insurance, everything. In the States is different, as I know, but in Europe, your boss or the company is paying your health insurance, pension, and everything. You get clean how much you get, but also the business owners need to pay their normal taxes, income, outcome. So like it's really hard even when you're working on yourself to be in a plus or even on the zero sometimes. It's not so
Yeah, absolutely right.
profitable
Because
always. It depends from the category where you go, like what industry you go in. So
yeah, picking the right industry can be really helpful because there's definitely industries that are not around anymore, right? That have gone off, and there's new industries coming up all the time. So picking the right industry is always good. And I think what you mentioned as far as yeah, just making sure that you're covered for any kind of the expenses, right? Because it's typically it is more effort or more that goes into running your own business. Like in America, I know it's it, depending on the company, right? It's not you're not required, I think, always for the health insurance, that kind of stuff, depending on size of company and how you hire people. But there is usually something like payroll taxes that actually pays into that kind of more
yeah,
indirectly, I guess. So there's a lot of things a lot of moving parts, right? So being able and some people they're not even at that stage, right? They're just maybe just starting out. Maybe they're the solo business owner, right? They're trying to do it all themselves initially to try to get some traction, right? So, but working for something big like Microsoft, right? So you have kind of this opportunity here. Um, and did you said it was like starting with Microsoft and then they kind of, I'll call it moved you or asked to see if you were interested in moving over into the kind of gaming side? Is that kind of where you got into that? Did I understand that correctly?
not exactly. Some guy, IT recruitment guy, called me one day like, "Hey, there is an opportunity. One of the Microsoft owned company. Are you interested? Maybe." I was like, was skeptic, like. Um,
Yeah.
it's not so big. It's not so normal in Europe to have recruiter guys call you. I was like, yeah, okay, send me the details. And like when I saw the company name, I was like, heck yeah, like I love that game. I want to be the part
Yeah.
of that game.
That's awesome.
So
So
and
you,
like
you got
and like
oh,
and like 90% of the recruitment process and everything, it was like everything top secret. Like we cannot tell you is it a remake, it is a remaster, it is a new game. Like everything was like top secret. Even now, I don't know every
that's,
detail of it.
you don't even know what it is. That's great.
I know what it is, but
Okay,
I
you
don't
know what it
know
is, but of
the whole
course you can't tell
details.
us. So that's
Yeah.
understandable. So as far as the recruiter side of it, so is that someone that you knew, or is that just kind of I guess a random recruiter, right?
It just popped up in my email address. One of my couple of my email address popped up like, yeah, like I'm gonna write him back and let's see what's gonna happen.
Okay. So for that, what would you say is the reason, or why do you think the recruiter reached out to you specifically?
I don't know why he did choose me from, let's say, a couple thousand people, but
Right, and
I was really looking into the jobs in the IT, but I never wanted like uh, uh, I have friends here in Google in Prague who were offered me a couple of like 6 7 months ago and even a year ago to help me get a job there. I was like, no, I don't want to work a corporate job. Like it's not mine to work from 9 to 5. I used to work in a bar, so for me, working in a bar is different than office. So,
Yep.
but again, bigger money, bigger chances, better life. I started looking into the IT jobs and was like sending for lots of companies, like one of the companies to my friend. It was Siemens here in Prague, and similar companies abroad, like again, one of the Microsoft daughter companies in Prague. They were looking to uh, for AI learning with Serbo-Croatian and Hungarian language. Basically, I was sending there too, so maybe that's how the guy got my uh, contacts, information, and everything. But I don't know, and I don't care reality. But I am thankful to him.
Yeah, because of course the reason I ask is I'm sure there's people listening that are interested to say like, what can I do to try to get those, call it the get the feelers out to get people to see them, right? Because that's one of the biggest challenges I've seen for people is really just being able to market themselves, just to say like, just to know that they exist, right? Because that's taking the bar example, right? There's the
Uh,
marketing story
yes,
that where
sir.
the bar you could open a great bar, but if there's nobody there and nobody knows about it, how are you going to get
Uh,
get people in the seats?
here is a good tip for the viewers.
Hmm.
I was talking with one of my friends a couple of days ago. Uh, 10 years ago, he was looking for another job, corporate job, because of the salary. And as he was doing his CV, he mistyped of instead of 3 years, he did type 13 years of knowledge, uh, Microsoft Office and Excel, and he got the job at the company the second day because on the job interview it was like simple like, oh, you're like with such a big knowledge of Microsoft Office, Excel, that's good, we need that. Is that salary okay? Yes, okay. He got the job right away. The problem was he did not know anything about that. He was watching YouTube video tutorials on the toilet for a couple of days, learning how he got, and under 6 months he got a promotion to manager on the job.
Wow.
So I don't say that you need to lie, but 1 2 years on the knowledge nobody's gonna know maybe.
That's right. We don't endorse just straight up lying, but but having the skills, right? That's the key. But I think the key part of the story though is that, you say that you have the skills, but then you immediately go get them, right? So it's having that kind of level of drive, tenacity to say like, well, if I don't have the skill, well, I'll just go get it, right? And then being able to say
Somebody.
that this is what you're going for.
Sorry for interrupting you, but let's say you're a guy who doesn't have skills, but you learn fast or you adapt fast.
Hmm.
So even if you say like, okay, I don't have skill, but I'm gonna write there, I have like 1 or 2 years skills, it's not a big problem because you're gonna watch a couple of videos, read some things, it's gonna get you.
Yeah, because that's what's
So
interesting about the experience level, right? It's like, the recruiters and all the companies, they'll list that, right? You need a year of that, or you need 3 to 5 years experience this, you need 10 years in this industry, but it's not all equal, right? Because you could sit at your desk and do nothing for 10 years and not have as much skill as somebody who did it for two
yeah,
and just did it, yeah, and was, like you said, very adaptable, learned very quickly, right? So I think
well,
that's the kind of understanding is to
generally,
say, go ahead.
generally for my position, my boss said it's like 15 years experience needed.
Yeah.
And to be honest, I got accepted on one job, one position, and even before signing the contract, I was assigned to a bigger position without skills.
Yeah.
So
Because
like,
sometimes the skills to me, like I've seen this, and I think for those listening, like if you see those kind of things on a application or when you're submitting for the application, and they need like 3 to 5 years of this or 10 years of that. They're not hard requirements, right? They never have been. To give you the perfect example, so when smartphones came out, right? When you had like the Android and iPhones, right? So when Android came out and they started putting out the job applications for like, Android app developers, right? For some of these companies, they're like, oh, we need an Android version of our app or whatever. They said on there, you need like 5 years of experience programming for Android. Android had just come out. Nobody had experience. Nobody had 5 years. Nobody had 6 months of experience. But they put 5 years on on like the job, listing. And it's just like, what are you doing? Like, so there's a lot of these hiring, like whether it's HR, whether it's the specific companies, or just, it's a lot of the time ignorance, I think, as far as just understanding what level of skill is needed or what level of skill is even possible. Right. So I say that story just to kind of help people understand that just because the job listing says 3 to 5 years or 10 years of this, it's not a hard and fast requirement.
No, like it's not like usually like even for interns at our company they say like they need some experience, but like for one of the instance I know for 100% that's not sure that like you need some experience. Like I knew one person that she applied for the intern position. uh, she got the position without even knowing geographics or anything about that position that she applied for.
Exactly. So and there's those kind of situations, those kind of experiences or stories all the time. So again, for those listening, if that's one of the things that's holding you back as far as seeing those requirements when it's listed on those requirements, it's not this is where we have to kind of distance ourselves from like gaming to reality, right? Because I think a lot of the gamers that you get a
Yeah,
like the game says, to move on to the next stage, you have to complete these things in this very specific order. So it's almost like a checklist, for like quest progress, anything like that. Like you have to do the thing to move on. But when we get out into life, things are a lot more flexible and adaptable that way. Is that what you've noticed?
in some way, yes. In some way, not. You still have the checkpoints. Let's say checkpoints. You need to finish school. You need to finish the high school, or maybe even the some faculty if you want, or something else. Depends how you want to go high, but that's usually on you. Like I stopped at after my high school, tried to go into faculty. It was like not my stuff. And I was like, okay, that's it. I went to finish to work normally and working my whole life until I got this job.
Yep.
But there is
Yeah.
like bonus levels, let's say, call them bonus levels, when you have to learn some stuff about that job that you want to go for, or you have even the ongoing position on the job that you have, the learning time. So it is maybe similar, but not exactly.
Right. There's definitely some give and take. I'd say like even I'll even say unfortunately the situation with at least university college level, right? You want the college degree, right? But there's a lot of companies that, like I said, just want the experience. Like you go out and work for a while because that shows kind of also like your work ethic and getting stuff done, getting results. And so half the time it's, if they say, yeah, I've noticed they started doing that where it's like, you need a college level degree or equivalent, right? And equivalent can mean experience. So it's a very
Right.
similar kind of thing.
Like my good friend, he have a diploma for IT, web design, and programming.
Mhm.
Uh, he don't have a working day in that profession.
Yep.
M-
That's
me me as a welder, I did like 200 websites in the past 20 years maybe, Plus, I was doing program simulations for the older people, older friends who were going to the faculty or some college funds. They needed to present their work as a programmer. So even with that, and I am a welder, not a IT guy by profession. So what do
Right.
you finish on the paper doesn't always matter.
Right,
It can
exactly.
be it can be a plus, but it doesn't have to be like that's you. Like
No, exactly right. I did economics for my undergrad and then went into like retail and store management. And it's like very loosely related there. So it's like, yeah. And then went back to school, got an MBA, right? Got the master's, and then actually used that, for supply chain at one of the big Fortune 500 companies. So it's like once I got to the master's, I was like, okay, well now I can kind of use the degree for because that's what people are looking for. But like the undergrad, it was like, no, that's not what I used it for. So I completely understand.
I
But
was never into company workers like the big companies or big chains. For me, that was like hell no, a lot of rules and everything. Then I came to Czech Republic. Accidentally, I came to vacation and got my first job in Czech Republic. That was like
yeah,
working for daughter company of Johnson Control, American company again. And I did see how it is like, not exactly American or German standard, but it was like you don't need any degree. You just need to understand where what cable goes or what your job position, and that's it.
yep.
And
So I did have I guess as we start to wind down this particular episode, I did want to ask for your, I guess I'll call it your advice, right? So, what's something that we haven't talked about yet that you think would be really, really good to know? Like if you were to talk to yourself, before you got the job, talk to yourself of several years ago, what advice would you give yourself that people listening could hear and understand?
oh, that's really hard. Mine would be like, don't listen to anybody. Do what do you want, or go where your heart is going. If you want to work in gaming or IT industry, go for it. Uh, it's 21st century. YouTube is free with ads, but use it. Lots of tutorials. You have AI, ChatGPT, Cortana, Gemini, and more. Ask, learn. It's not perfect. You're gonna make mistakes, but
That's so much good
first,
advice right there. Just I hope
yeah,
you guys
first
caught
job,
all of that.
first job is gonna be a lot of mistakes. The second is gonna be less and less. So,
Yes, exactly right. So
uh,
you're gonna make mistakes, and it's just
like,
understanding and accepting that.
uh,
Yeah.
my opinion, like, would be if you don't have use cracked Photoshop, cracked everything cracked, doesn't mind. Use to learn it. Do one portfolio, you can do it with a free web hosting and domains and go with it. Like post like all your logos or all your website ideas, write it down and just go with it.
Gosh, very
And
good.
in the process, you can record it for the social medias, and you can get more support or more help with lots of more people.
Fantastic. So Ivica, so before we go, people want to know more maybe about you and what you're working on because I know you mentioned at least towards the beginning that you're actually working on your own project on the side too, like an actual gaming project. So can you let the people know, I guess, where to find you and what you're working on?
Well, my gaming project isn't like exactly like a gaming project with a game. I am creating a community with a blog with help of my company.
Mhm.
Of course, there is a couple more sponsorships, but that's gonna be when the website and the whole community is finished. Uh, The good thing is we are focused on the retro games. It's not that we're not focused on the new games, but the main focus on is on the retro game and create a nice community for the people who are in the retro games. Uh, with that, there's gonna be, of course, movie and TV show sections. But basically, we are trying to create a one normal community where people can help. I don't know, did you have that in your time or in the States or not?
Hmm.
But we had in the early 2000s called, it was a company that do gaming magazines called Bonus. And basically, in every number, it was coming out monthly. It was like 10, 15 games, always small reviews. In the middle, it was the whole walkthrough of some games. The last couple of pages was like ads for people to advertise.
Yep.
And it was the last page that was the best page. It was like you could call the phone and ask, like, hey, I stopped there and there. I need help with that and that part. And in the next magazine, somebody would answer with how you can get through the game.
That's
So,
cool.
basically, we are doing on something similar like that, only like
Okay.
online community or like not Discord. Discord is gonna be there, but it's gonna be normal blog section. Also with that blog section, we're gonna try to get more people to write. So we're gonna do some like copyright, giving copyright people or younger and older who want to try to write, doing copyright for their life as a job to give them um, try out, even to write if they want. And with that, we're gonna giving out certificates for them as an internship. That's the best part of that.
Very cool. Yeah.
And also to get more YouTubers or influencers who are recording and doing reviews, something like that, to get promotions. They can get promotions for free, of course. So that's the best part of my project.
That's very cool. Yes, very cool. A lot of stuff going on there. I would say the first part about the like the calling in to try to get the answer or tips or something that kind of reminds me of there was even like the Nintendo, I think it was Nintendo Power magazine, and then I forget if it was Nintendo
You
Hotline.
had the Nintendo Power.
Yeah, so we had Nintendo Power, and then GameStop had their Game Informer magazine, which I think it was a little bit heavier on advertisements, but yeah, would tell you about games and stuff coming out. But yeah, Nintendo Power, and then it was the Nintendo Hotline where you could call and you could actually ask your questions and people could help you through certain parts of the game, which I thought,
I don't. I mean, in Europe, I don't know about that.
yeah, so that's so very cool stuff. So Ivica, thank you so much for being here. This has been fantastic, and so we'll include links in the description as far as yeah where people can find that and get more information. So fantastic. And then I do have, and I think you already answered it, but I do like to close out the show with the same question I asked to everybody, which is, can you tell me again, what is your favorite video game?
I told you last time it's hard to decide between Ace Combat and Metal Gear Solid, but let's stay with the Ace Combat 3 Electrosphere.
Ace Combat 3, yeah, because I'd say that's probably one I haven't heard much because I've heard the Metal Gear Solid because I mean it's a solid game, haha, pun intended. But Ace Combat 3, oh, also a very good one. So very cool. Well, Vic, thank you so much for joining us, and everybody listening, everybody watching, thank you so much. And just have to say, remember, stay awesome, and I'll see you in the next one.